Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are here with Yohay, as usual, and Mauricio to cover live the Bank of England monetary policy decision. We have multiple central banks taking decisions over the past few hours, so the market is quite interesting.
I think we have Valeria disconnected.
Yeah, I think Valeria has a micro block out on internet.
Yeah, so I'll take it from here. As Valeria was mentioning, we had, well, this is the fourth rate decision in less than 24 hours. The most important one was, of course, the Fed. We covered it here last night. The Federal Reserve decided to raise rates, but they were dovish altogether. They just basically brought the rate hike forward, but they're not going to accelerate their pace. They didn't change any of their outlooks. There was one dovish dissenter. I think Valeria is back. And well, anyway, and then and that killed the US dollar, well, sent it lower. Apart from that, we had so many other events. The Bank of Japan left monetary policy unchanged, and they also weighed on dollar yen. Didn't help the yen, but didn't help their own country. They want a weaker yen. The Swiss National Bank left everything unchanged, and now the Bank of England is expected to leave policy unchanged. But we also get the meeting minutes, which of course are much more important than the no change. The meeting minutes are expected to show a unanimous vote. All 9 members, including Governor Carney, including the deputy governor that is going to leave, Charlotte Hogg, including everybody, voting unanimously. And the comments about inflation, about employment, are going to be of importance for the Bank of England. We've seen since Brexit, the vote was 9 months ago. The economy is still doing well, but inflation is on the rise, and inflation is beginning to bite. Okay, we're seeing consumer spending falling via retail sales, and also we're seeing some deceleration in wage growth. So we had this report earlier this week, which showed that the pace of wage growth is slowing down. So if I think it was 2.2 or 2.3%, cooling down, contrary to what's happening in the United States. So let's see if we can get comments from the Bank of England on the weakness of the pound and how it impacts inflation. Now, the Bank of England will probably not raise interest rates, not now and not anytime soon, because they don't want to choke the economy with all the uncertainty. But that would help stabilize sterling and push prices a bit lower. On the other hand, leaving the situation as is also not favorable. If sterling falls even further, it could hurt consumers. So there's a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place. And they make their decision in just about 9 minutes, right?
Yeah, 9 minutes.
Okay, I think.
What happened yesterday with the election in Netherlands?
Yeah, so for those of you trading the world's most popular pair, euro dollar, we had the euro received another boost because the elections in the Netherlands resulted in a victory for mainstream parties. There's so many parties in the Netherlands, 13 in parliament, but most importantly for markets, the extreme right-wing party of Geert Wilders, called the Freedom Party, they gained only a bit of votes. They came out much weaker than expected, much weaker than the polls showed them. And the biggest party is still the center-right Liberal Party, led by current Prime Minister Mark Rutte. So it might take Dutch politicians months and months and months to reach an agreement on a coalition, but the market's attention will have shifted elsewhere, and elsewhere is France. So if everybody was watching the Netherlands as the canary in the coal mine for the rise of populism also in France, that didn't happen. That was positive for the euro, and it gave the euro another boost. But what's going on now in the Netherlands is not so interesting anymore. We're looking at France, and in a few minutes we're looking at the BoE. Valeria, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Having some issues with my connection. But anyway, here I am trying to share my charts, but I can't. So I guess I have to restart it. But anyway, tell me what you are saying, and let's join the discussion.
Well, I was talking about the Bank of England. They're a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place. At the moment, the economy is looking good and inflation is rising, but inflation is rising due to the weakness of the pound. I don't think they would like to see a much weaker pound because it hurts consumers and real wages. In any case, no change is expected.
Yeah, indeed. We're expecting Carney. My hope, better said, is that Carney expressed some kind of concern about what's going on with inflation. We have rising inflation and slow growth in wage, right?
Yeah.
I was reading that the employment data released this week, if you adjust the advance in salaries by inflation, it was just 0.7% advance compared to an above 2% inflation. So the situation will be unsustainable for the people, of course.
Yeah, quality of living is falling.
Yeah. Anyway, give me a second. We'll restart the Hangout so I can share my charts, okay?
Okay. In the meantime, I'm showing you my chart. Basically, we've seen how pound dollar was trading in a range, and it broke above this range thanks to the Fed, thanks to the weakness of the US dollar following the dovish hike, if you wish. And we moved all the way, reached around 123. Now we're back down to 122.68 and waiting for the Bank of England. The pair reached a low of 121 earlier this week. The move to the upside is fully driven by the weakness of the US dollar, not pound related. The Bank of England meets, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 8 times a year. But my point is that, like the ECB and like the Fed, they have 4 more important decisions. These are called sometimes Super Thursdays. It's when the Bank of England also releases the quarterly inflation report. That's when the big decisions are taken. In August, after Brexit, that's when they decided to cut interest rates, add more to QE, and make other small changes. In November, they originally were set to cut interest rates once again, but things improved by then, and they moved from a dovish stance to a neutral stance. And in February, it was also sort of a bigger decision, but, well, nothing really big happened, if I'm not mistaken. And now we're sort of in the middle, this March meeting. So, yeah.
I was taking a look at the market as a whole, and I'm noticing that the Swiss franc it's really advancing against the greenback, right? The euro and the pound had pulled back a bit, but the Swiss is breaking through parity and pushing higher against the greenback, which may be a way for the euro and the pound also, right?
Yeah, the Swiss decision. Well, if we're looking at your Swiss, we're back down to 107. So maybe markets saw the weakness of this SNB and decided to buy francs. I don't know.
Yeah, the central bank attempts to do some undercover intervention. Sorry, but they can't much to fight. They can't fight against the trend. Sorry. Anyway, the euro broke a big above 700 level and held above it so far. So things are looking a bit better for the common currency, particularly after the Dutch elections, right? When the populist party had gotten less seats than expected by the market. So it's a bit of relief for the euro area ahead of the more relevant French and German elections.
Yeah.
So there's little power. Yeah.
Just said that French opinion polls from today showed no change from yesterday, so still a long time until the elections there. Netherlands was sort of a good sign for markets.
Yeah, a bit of relief for common currency. Anyway, do you think Carney was the statement? I mean, right? Because we are not having Carney speaking today, but do you believe the statement said something about being more concerned about inflation, or do you expect them to be tolerant with rising inflation as they did lately?
I don't have a good answer. I think they would like to see the pound a bit stronger, so inflation would be a bit lower, but they don't think they really want to act on interest rates. So maybe some kind of monitoring closely, like Trichet used to say, but not strong vigilance.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, as you said at the beginning of this coverage, seems the Bank of England is between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because no matter what they say, they can trigger big moves or not in the pound and intervene with inflation, with the Brexit, and with all the things that are going on in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, and latest news from the UK is that Her Majesty the Queen gave the royal permission to the government to trigger Article 50. So, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Remember, guys, we have a bit of delay. You will see the reaction in charts first, rather than hearing from us.
One member voted not a unanimous vote.
No?
No, as far as I can see, there one member voted for a hike. Let me confirm that. Anyway, pound is rising just a bit. So let's see. Not a big move, but
there was one dissenter. I see the same in Twitter, but not in the calendars. So yeah, one voted for a hike.
Yeah.
8 voted for an unchanged stance. They, of course, left the interest rate and the purchase program unchanged. And that's why the pound is a bit higher.
Yeah, let's see who this member is. It's not rare for the Bank of England to see dissenters. Sometimes it's even 2 or 3. But we had a few long months, a few decisions with unanimous vote. So this is news. And here we go, above 123 pound dollar. So it's this is surprise, not a unanimous vote. One member wanted to vote for a rate hike, maybe in order to fight against inflation.
Okay, the pound thick. After 2309, it started around 2308 yesterday. That high, and if it got broken, would probably extend its rally, right?
Here we are.
Here we are.
123, yeah. 14,
yes,
15.
2345 is my next resistance level, because February 17 monthly, even I do believe February low, 2345, and it's also the 38.8, 38.2, sorry, percent, no, 50% retracement, sorry, of the January rally.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, the low that was seen in
February 17, February 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
February.
Yes.
So that's the next resistance for pound, if it managed to keep advancing. It will read now the statement and analyze and scrutinize it to decide whether or not this rally is sustainable.
Yeah, one member, Christine Forbes, she voted for a hike. Christine Forbes, yeah.
It says that she will leave the MPC this year also, so maybe not as relevant for the market, but still, there was one dissenter, and that's pushing the pound higher.
Yeah, new highs at the moment, 123.25.
The rest of the currencies are flat, right? Not reacting to the news. Gold is getting a bit of a lift, also following the pound. But there's no reaction in the euro, nor the reaction in the yen or the Aussie, not even in the Swissy.
Yeah, but of course, pound crosses are seeing the same effect. So
Yeah.
euro pound slips under 87, and the dragon pound dollar is roaring almost to 140, and pound yen.
Okay, the statement has been released, right?
Yeah. Statement released, no change.
Thinking it's going to be a non-event, but Forbes just gave us some some action.
She felt that the measures of domestic inflation had increased notably. Well, that's true. And in addition, some members who did vote to hold, voted no change, would consider reducing stimulus after relatively little further upside news on growth or inflation. So that's another hawkish wording in the MPC statement. Yeah.
In between, the statement.
So the Bank of England is not so worried about Brexit uncertainty, or at least more worried about inflation. So in August they cut interest rates and they had a very, very bearish stance. Then they moved to neutral, and now I think they're looking to the hawkish side.
Yeah. It seems like the easing era is coming to an end, right? We are talking about the ECB. There were some rumors, of course, no informal confirmation, but the ECB also discussed the possibility of rising rates even before retrieving quantitative easing in their latest meeting. The Bank of Japan that met last Asian session is nowhere near to extending its stimulus, and we have in the UK one MPC member voting for a rate hike, right? So, and of course, the Fed is in the tightening path. It has already raised rates 0.25% just last American session. So it's the end of easing. Are we witnessing an historical moment? I don't.
A moment, maybe a very gradual process.
That's the problem. That's what not going to make the market too volatile. It's a very, very slow process. That at some point seems to be the end of the easing era. Although to be more interesting, we should see some growth, steady growth, all through the big economy, something that we are not seeing these days.
No, US growth is quite poor. Eurozone growth is stronger, but I wouldn't call it strong. Just not as meager as it used to be. More from the Bank of England, they say that wage growth, as we talked about before, has been notably softer than expected since the last meeting, despite the fall in unemployment. So that's a bit dovish, but of course, well, it's just basically saying what they see, acknowledging reality.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Sorry.
They also say, the Bank of England, that inflation expectations remain intact, wages are soft.
So they are not concerned about inflation.
At least not in the longer run.
Not much, exactly. So overall, we can say that this has been a quite hawkish, non-super Thursday Bank of England.
Yeah.
Okay, there it goes, the pound 23.34 and counting towards that 45 level. That 45 level should be some strong resistance, but if it gets taken, then the rally will probably extend, right?
Yeah. Here on the daily chart, you can see we're
What
getting...
may be pairing a partially pound strength is the fact that stocks were rising sharply at the beginning of the day. The FTSE reached a fresh all-time high, if I'm not wrong, at the beginning of the day. Yeah, it did. 7,445 record all-time high. For the FTSE now easing, right, because of pound strength. They have been having an inverted correlation ever since the Brexit, with a weaker pound boosting companies among the index.
Yeah, I think also other stock markets rallied in Asia and in Europe.
Everything rallied. Although U.S. indexes are pretty much where they closed yesterday ahead of the opening, with the Dow a few points below 21,000, right? But yeah, most European markets rallied sharply at the beginning of the day. The rally in European equities came, as I said, as a sign of relief after the outcome of the Dutch elections.
Yeah, so everything was going in favor of markets. Dovish hike, good result in the Netherlands.
The Japanese yen is mute, around 1340, looking bearish still. But well, the Swiss is pressuring the lows and attempting a couple of pips lower. Not really with no actual momentum, right? But very falling. So the world scenario is also good for the euro. Pound reaching 40, 23.40. There we are, approaching.
Yeah. 41.
Yeah.
So getting close to resistance. I think yesterday we got a question if the Fed will be a non-event, and we're happy to see it was a big event. It did move markets, and today I must say I was expecting a non-event from the Bank of England, and this time it was different.
Yeah. Gold is it's also advancing. 1230. It has the key resistance area. If it manages to get above it, the rally will probably extend in there. The euro is gaining modest traction, really modest.
Yeah, I think that elsewhere outside the pound, which is now rallying on this hawkish descent, the markets are sort of consolidating the moves that we've seen yesterday from the Fed.
We have housing data coming in the US around in less than 20 minutes, and the weekly unemployment claims not enough to revert this dollar weakness in the case the data is positive. But if the data is negative, we'll probably put the greenback under further pressure, right? Because the market will go with the trend with this not first tier data.
Yeah, the trend is now against the US dollar. In many cases, this bulk of releases can go all directions. That means, for instance, housing starts can come out better than expected and building permits worse than expected, and then jobless claims in the middle or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of data at once. We need the data to go all in one direction. And yeah, as Valeria said, there is more room to the downside.
Yeah. Bank of England will release its quarterly inflation bulletin tomorrow, right? A quarterly bulletin. Not sure if it's inflation. It's a report, not as relevant problem as the one they released, the outlook for inflation and growth that they released alongside with the meetings. But still, it will give some information about the UK that could either favor the pound rally or put it back down. Pressure on the resistance.
So we're almost at resistance with pound dollar.
Yeah.
123.44 is the high.
I believe 46 was the low in February.
Yeah, so we're
It's
very close. Yeah.
It's an area. It's difficult that a resistance or a support is reached by the exact pip.
Yeah.
Sometimes the rallies fell a couple of pips below it or a couple above it. But still, it's an area where we have to think about resistance and support as areas where demand and offer became more equal, right? So there, the battle begins, and at some point one wins, but we don't know ahead who will win it, either bulls or bears, right?
Exactly.
Bridge reaching from the high a bit, just 10 pips lower, still on the highs. But there it is, the battle between bears and bulls taking place around 23.45.
Yeah, and indeed, I think the rally stalled. Pound dollar made a nice advance, and now it's a bit stuck there under resistance.
Yes, without a press conference or outlooks and forecasts, there's not much more than the pair can do but break or trigger stops. And not much more the pair can do from the macroeconomic side, but can do from the technical. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
True stops and then keep running.
Yep.
Risk to the economies in either direction. The boy said that.
Bullard.
Monetary policy risk can respond in either direction. Risks to economic seen in either direction. Still appropriate to look through likely near-term overshoot in prices. Not a big change from their previous statement. Beyond the dissenter,
Yeah, this is similar to the ECB. They also see through transitory inflation related to oil prices. So the high so far, at least here, 123.45.
yeah, high the pip this time.
Yeah.
And the fact that the pair is holding nearby and the price is holding nearby has bullish implications, right? There has not been a big major pullback, so bulls are pressuring. Let's see if bears give up. What's going on with the euro pound? Okay, plummeting 86.
Yeah, dropped under 87.
Yeah, still in there we have a support around 86.60. I do believe that we commented this yesterday, which is this week low. Still in touch. Okay, seems that there's not going to be much more of a surprise. Do you think we should wrap up, Yohay?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
no
You
press
go.
conference. I'll start. Okay, so Bank of England. Okay. The Bank of England decided not to change interest rates. That was fully expected. They did surprise us by letting us know that one member, Christine Forbes, voted for a rate hike. She sees higher inflationary pressures. All in all, and other members as well wanted to, they did vote to hold, but they did consider reducing stimulus. So all in all, it's a more hawkish move by the Bank of England, by the Monetary Policy Committee, and we're seeing a strong reaction in the pound. I guess markets were not expecting this. I wasn't expecting it to be a significant event, but here we are, some 50 pips or more, 70 pips, 80 pips to the upside, currently at resistance 123.45, more or less.
Okay, well, I do agree with you. Nothing relevant, really relevant, was changed in the statement, but the one dissenter we have in voting that pledged for a rate hike has pushed the pound higher. It has reached, the pair has reached a major resistance area and it's valuing there. So the risk is still towards the upside in the pound. The rest of the market is consolidating, so it's not giving us much guidance of what will happen with the greenback after the US opening. We have some minor US data, but it's hardly able to trigger an interesting rally. Overall, I do believe that the dollar is weak, and if it keeps on weakening with the American session, that will probably favor the pound to rally further, but not much. Remember that the market is still concerned about the Brexit, that the government will launch Brexit this month, and therefore we would probably see some wild moves either side of the board as we have been seeing these days. At this particular moment, I'm seeing that gold is breaking higher. So that's another thing that's making the case against the greenback. But, well, I do believe that it would be a bit more prudent to confirm that with the American opening, given that mayors are stuck in really limited range and we have no certain directional strength going on anywhere beyond the pound and gold. Okay, I do believe that's it, guys, for today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Mauricio, for being there in the background, producing us. And Yohay, as usual, pleasure to be with you. See you soon, and hopefully we'll have more to share about the market with you guys. Thank you, and have a nice trading journey and a better weekend. Yeah, we are close to the weekend. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.